Hello everyone, this is Ali, and in this video I'm gonna tell you that what is basically web scraping and what tools we have in Python and what kind of tools we better use when we are starting from zero experience to have our data from online sources. So in this video we start with the web scraping content, that what it is, that what we can do, and then we go for different kind of web scraping, and then finally we show you what kind of tools we have in Python for this kind of web scraping, and then we have some websites to show you that what type of tools we should use based on our experience or our project. So we would start with web scraping content. As you know, nowadays we have dealing with HTML websites. I mean, if you search for HTML websites, you would understand that 95% of all websites are using HTML and CSS, of course. So we are dealing with HTML files, right? Imagine that you're in a company that they want you to extract some data from a database, or maybe their database, or other websites or other sources, and you are basically, in most of the situations, you are dealing with an HTML file. So we have the HTML file. This is what we do, and especially we're gonna do it in Python, and it is web scraping. We do the web scraping, and finally we would have the data. But what kind of web scraping we do? For example, it can be in some governmental websites or other kind of company information that we want to use for our databases or our purposes. It could be some social media web scraping or research data, or maybe use other search engines, some pricing sites, or all you want. You can do the web scraping and have the information from these sources. And eventually, we know that now we have some libraries, and even it is more than these uh, kind of libraries, but we have most important libraries in Python that we can do the data or web scraping. In this case, we are starting from zero experience, totally zero experience, and we are just getting our data from different kind of websites using one or two or combination of the libraries. But the most important thing is that you know first that what you are dealing with. For example, we have request library, we have Selenium library, Scrapy, Beautiful Soap, URL Lib Tree, LXML, or Mechanical Soup. But the thing is that what kind of library you should use. And it is basically, the first factor is that it is based on database or what websites you are dealing with. And the second one is that based on your experience. I mean, most of the beginners would start with requests, Beautiful Soap, and Selenium. And more advanced users use Mechanical Soup or Scrappy or other libraries. And for our video, we're gonna show you how simply you can use basic knowledge in Python and basic knowledge of these libraries to extract your data. And then with a little bit more experience, we go for other libraries and show you that how can you simply use these libraries to get your information. Here is the thing. We should know requests for our first thing, because requests are really important if you are dealing with companies or you have your own database. We have different types of requests, but in this case that we want to just extract simple data from websites or databases, we have a GET request. And with a GET request, which is called an API, we just send the request and we can reach the database with that simple request, which is a GET request. You want to get some information, right? So it is a GET request. You just send it to the database, and the database will get you a response and will send you different kind of data. And this type of data can be a JSON file, a CSV file, maybe a HTML file, or anything. So, first things first, right? We should use requests to send a GET request and get some information. It is the basic thing, the first step, and we always use that. And after that, we have some information that we can use them to extract data. For example, in this case, I'm going to show you that iTunes has its own API. If you want some information from iTunes, you can easily search API or iTunes API. You can have the format. For example, in this case, we can use this format to get our data from the Apple database. And it has been said that if you want to use this format, you would have, for example, some key and values that it can be used in this kind of sequence. And it has been said that after you send the request, you would have, let's say, a JSON file, which is simply some sort of text file, but it has been organized somehow that all of the programming languages can use, and it is simple to transfer, and it has lower size, and it is easy to use, and it's just a format which stands for JavaScript Object Notation. So in this case, we know that we are dealing with Apple servers, and we should use its own API and the request to get the JSON file for our request. What about other websites or other things? For example, we have different kind of websites here. For example, in this case, we have different kind of breeds of dogs and different kind of characteristics. If you want to have this data, this website doesn't have any APIs. And in this case, what should we do? Because we need this information to use it maybe in other cases or other databases. So in this case, we know that these websites doesn't have any certain APIs to send requests and have this information. So what should we do to get this information? Simply, in this case, that you are dealing with a website, you should first check the content. The first thing is that you should know that what you are dealing with. For example, we're gonna have the inspect elements. We can see that we have HTML file, right? So in this case, if we send the request and if we can have positive sign from our request and get some information, it would be HTML file. So in these libraries, we can use requests to send the request and get the HTML file, and then use Beautiful Soap. Basically, because we are going step by step, I'm just telling you the roadmap. Because request and Beautiful Soap, it would be really good to extract this information from the websites that just you want to do it one time in your life and have the information. But what about this website? For example, here is also, we can see that we have different kind of tables here. Yeah. And most of the time, we are dealing with HTML websites. As I mentioned before, almost 95% of websites are HTML. So if you send a request, you will get the thing that you want. And we have some other options. If you didn't get the HTML file, we can use even other libraries, but we will show you a step by step. But the first thing is that we know request. That I assume that you have some information about request now. Then go for Beautiful Soap, then Selenium. And I know that if you are just a beginner or a medium user, it would be enough. But if you are, for example, a little bit advanced user or a medium user of Python, you can simply use Scrapy. But remember that even most experienced users, sometime because of the project, they use just simple requests and maybe beautiful soap. So it's not about the experience, but also it depends on your project. For example, in this case, or this one, we can just simply use the requests and beautiful soap, which I recorded a video about this website. Here is another example that we can use. Here we have different kind of ingredients that nutritionists, especially animal nutritionists, use in ingredients and using, feed materials. For example, we want to do some research or we want some data from barley. So we can easily click on barley, and we would have some information about barley. In this case, if we go again for inspect, we can see that for this website also we have HTML file again. So basically we can use again requests and beautiful soap, and also we can use Selenium or other things. But the difference here, we should know that if you have a simple HTML file and you have lots of information like this one, it is important to notice that what kind of HTML file you are dealing with. For example, in this case, you can have the tags that it is, for example, span, or this one is dd, or this one is a div. But if you look here, yeah, you can see that it is definitely a table. When you have tables, you should be glad about it because you can simply use pandas here. With pandas library in Python, you can extract all of the tables here with that HTML file that you have gotten from the HTML request, and you can easily extract the data. So it was the main thing about data scraping and what should you use as a beginner. And in next videos, we would have different kind of data scraping with these libraries, or maybe the combination of these libraries to get the data step by step with these libraries. And I hope that this video would be helpful for you, and see you later. Thanks for watching.